Why is Meghan Sussex the only financially independent royal wife whose wardrobe spending has been monitored with such obsessive intensity? This question, while seemingly narrow, opens the door to a much broader and far more uncomfortable conversation about control, hierarchy, and who is allowed autonomy within elite spaces. The scrutiny of Meghan Sussex has never genuinely been about fiscal responsibility or public accountability. It has always been about discomfort with a woman who arrived fully formed, financially secure, and unwilling to shrink herself to fit an outdated mould. Before royal life, Meghan Sussex was already standing on her own 2 feet. She had a career she built herself, income she earned independently, and a public identity that existed entirely outside the monarchy. She was not waiting to be rescued by a title or sustained by royal funds. She was already paying her own bills, making her own decisions, and directing her own life. That level of independence is rare within royal circles, particularly among royal wives, and it immediately disrupted expectations. The royal system has long relied on financial dependence as a form of quiet control. When an institution provides housing, clothing budgets, staff and lifestyle, it also dictates boundaries. Gratitude is expected. Compliance is rewarded. Silence is encouraged. Royal wives are traditionally absorbed into the system, where their needs are met in exchange for loyalty and restraint. Their wardrobes, no matter how costly, are framed as part of the job, not as personal indulgence. The institution shields them, and the media largely follows suit. Meghan Sussex entered this system without that dependency. She did not require royal funds to clothe herself. She did not need approval to maintain a polished professional appearance. She brought with her the mindset of a working woman who understood branding, presentation, and global visibility. Rather than being celebrated as a relief to the institution, her independence was treated as a provocation. Instead of praising Meghan Sussex for spending her own money, the media chose to frame her wardrobe as a moral failing. Headlines did not simply report what she wore. They calculated, exaggerated, and repeatedly revisited the cost. Context was removed. Comparisons were skewed. Her financial autonomy was ignored. The narrative was carefully shaped to suggest excess, selfishness, and entitlement, even when those claims were unsupported by facts. This level of scrutiny was not accidental. Monitoring her wardrobe became a way to reassert control over a woman who could not otherwise be managed. When you cannot dictate someone's behavior, you attempt to dictate public perception. Meghan Sussex's clothing became the battlefield because it was visible, symbolic, and easily sensationalized. Financial independence is deeply unsettling to systems built on hierarchy. A woman who does not rely on institutional approval cannot be easily punished or coerced. Meghan Sussex did not need to trade silence for security. She did not need to leak stories to remain relevant. She did not need to beg for protection. That freedom stripped power away from those accustomed to holding it. Race plays an undeniable role in how Meghan Sussex was perceived. A biracial woman entering one of the most traditionally white institutions in the world was always going to face a different level of scrutiny. When other royal women wore luxury, it was framed as tradition or elegance. When Meghan Sussex wore similar designs at similar price points, it was framed as extravagance or arrogance. The difference was not the clothing, it was the woman wearing it. Language used to describe Meghan Sussex often carried undertones that were absent in coverage of others. Words like flashy, attention-seeking, or tone-deaf appeared with alarming regularity. These descriptors were less about her actions and more about projecting discomfort onto her presence. The media was not just reporting, it was policing. Prince Harry saw this clearly. He understood that the scrutiny was not balanced or fair, and he recognized the emotional damage it was causing. Having grown up under intense media pressure himself, he knew exactly where unchecked hostility could lead. When institutional support failed to materialize and the attacks intensified, he made a decision rooted in love and self-preservation. He chose to protect his wife rather than preserve appearances. The fact that the obsession with Meghan Sussex continued even after she and Prince Harry stepped back from royal duties reveals the true motivation behind the scrutiny. If the concern had truly been about royal spending or public funds, the story would have ended when they left. Instead, the fixation persisted. That persistence exposed resentment, not responsibility. Meghan Sussex and Prince Harry shattered a powerful illusion. They demonstrated that royal life is not the only path to relevance, respect, or impact. They showed that it is possible to walk away from an institution and still thrive. Financial independence made that possible. Emotional alignment made it sustainable. Their success outside the system challenged narratives that rely on fear and dependency. Meghan Sussex's style was never about indulgence. It was about self-expression, professionalism, and modern representation. She dressed like a woman who understood that appearances communicate values. Her clothing choices reflected confidence, capability, and a global outlook. Rather than disappearing into the background, she showed what contemporary leadership could look like. For many, that was inspiring. For others, it was deeply threatening. The relentless focus on her wardrobe reveals a broader societal discomfort with women who do not apologize for success. Meghan Sussex did not ask permission to exist fully. She did not downplay her achievements or soften her presence to make others comfortable. Her refusal to be diminished was framed as arrogance because confidence in women is still too often misunderstood. Prince Harry did not lose status by standing beside Meghan Sussex. He gained clarity. He gained peace. He gained a life that aligned with his values rather than one dictated by expectation. Together, they modelled a partnership built on mutual respect, shared purpose, and emotional honesty. Their unity exposed how fragile the old system truly was. At its core, this conversation is not about clothes. It is about autonomy. It is about who is allowed to be independent without punishment. It is about why a woman spending her own money can provoke more outrage than institutional excess. It is about why Meghan Sussex continues to be scrutinized for refusing to conform. Meghan Sussex did not fail the institution she entered. The institution failed to make room for a woman who did not need to be controlled. Her wardrobe was never the problem. Her independence was. Her confidence was. Her refusal to be silent was. And that, more than any designer label, is why her presence continues to challenge narratives long after she stepped away.